Hey everybody, it's Jane. Happy Thursday. I've got my text number here if you want to join my text group, 860-385-6369, and you'll get a text from me when I go live. You'll also get a text from me like when I get new IOD in, which we all have on pre-order, which is really the new summer release, which is really exciting. And let me tell you, it's breathtakingly beautiful. All right, so I'm sending that text out now. And there it goes. And I'm going to close my computer for no distractions. And again, if you want to join my text group, 860-385-6369. So what I'm going to be doing today, you guys, is remember this. Grab this little antique box. God, I hate that my phone is not. There we go, nice and square. So this, I collect these boxes. I love antique boxes. I did a tutorial. Hey, Danielle, how are you? Thanks for joining me today. I did a tutorial on repairing this. So it's all repaired. And I'm definitely going to use it in my sewing room. So what I did to just soften, if you remember, there were all these little like wet marks, drink marks. And what I did is I sanded. There they are. So I gave it a little sand, wiped it really well with a microfiber cloth. And this is mahogany. This is beautiful. It's solid mahogany. Mahogany always has that, just that gorgeous dark color. I even have an Empire table that's built from an extinct mahogany. It's sad to say that, but it's a blonde mahogany. I'll post a picture of it. This piece is gorgeous, and I actually bought it so nobody would paint it because it's so beautiful. So what I want to do with this, so I have to do something fancy with this, and I thought I would use an IOD stamp to apply size, and then I'm going to gild a design on here in gold. And I was kind of going through my stamps. My first thought was to use, and I love the crockery stamp, but these are so detailed, these stamps, the design, and it looks beautiful. A lot of them are marmalade, and I love marmalade. So I was like, oh, these would look great. But I think a lot of it, that little tiny detail, is gonna get lost with the size. If I was to use ink with this, I think it would be fine. I don't want to paint this. If I really wanted to use ink, I could paint this, ink my stamp, and then ink it down. But I want to see this wood. So I'm gonna put this one away for now. And then I thought, how about my favorite stamp? I swear I use this over and over. I thought, how about the kindest regards? This is the script stamp. So that's what I'm gonna do. And you'll see I put a little piece of washi tape here. And I did that because I'm gonna be standing up to lay this stamp down. And I lined up right at the hinges. I just want this piece of tape to be just above those little hinges, if you could see them under there, so it's not, you know, all cockeyed. So that's what I'm gonna do. And if it doesn't work out, Danielle, I will just sand it all off, right? So I have my stamp, and I'm gonna use my brayer. I've got my size put in a little bowl here. And then we're also gonna be, you might look at this and say, well, Jane, that wood is lighter than the wood around that on the sides, because this has been, this is a shellac, a varnish, a real one. So I did grab my dark antiquing wax, and that's what I'm going to use to finish this. So first things first, I need gold leaf, of course. Here it is. And now I'm folding it. Okay, so there's the gold leaf, the size, my brayer, the stamp, and our subject here. So first things first, I'm gonna roll some size onto this. Now, when you do something like this with your stamp, I've had this stamp for years, I use the scrubby soap, and not only do I sell it, I use it. I use scrubby for everything. I love it. And what I'm probably gonna do this time, because you'll see just a little bit of paint kind of stuck down in there, I'm gonna get out my little brush. I have like a dish brush, and I'm gonna get in there and brush it. But I've had this stamp for years, and I love it. But you do have to take care of them, and don't let the size get like rock hard. Okay, so I'm gonna first, and I'm gonna grab a piece of cardboard. So I'm rolling out the size, but then I just wanna kind of roll it like this so I don't have a pooling mess. Grab my stamp, and then I'm just going to roll on this size. Now, if you really want to be good, you can, kind of make a square, trace the top of your project, tape it out, and, if you really want to be precise, that's what you would do. And this is one of those things that the more you do it, the better you're going to be at knowing when you have enough size on your project and all of that. So I'm just going to hope for the best here. All right, get this out of the way. Now I'm going to put my, hey Cheryl, how are you? Isn't this stamp great, Danielle? I know, I use it over and over and over again. All right, so I'm going to stand up here. And I'm just going to come down, right? And just kind of roll my fingers around here. Now, I know this is not going to be super precise as if I used ink, but that's okay. Okay, and lift it up, and there it is. And I already see one little area. I didn't roll my size down this far, but that might look okay because it's got a little gap up here, little one down there. Now what we have to do is wait for this to come. Oh, Cheryl, you're so sweet. Oh my God, I haven't been around for a few days because I've been at the dentist. And let me tell you, I used to be proud of my good choppers, and I tend to be a type A kind of stress person, and at night I clench. Well, I amazingly cracked a tooth, and this has been an adventure. That's all I can say. My heart goes out, perfectly imperfect. Thank you, Cheryl. That's right. Just like my teeth. But my heart goes out to people that have to go through a lot of like serious dental work. That's all I can say. My face is finally going down. Oh my God. Perfectly imperfect. I know. Oh no, right, you guys? It actually, you know what? The worst part of it for me was that I allowed, I knew my whole life I've done this. I've kind of clenched and I grind my teeth. And of course I had the night guard, right, Danielle? I had one made when I was out in California and I owned my own salon because I was really clenching and I didn't wear it. So if anybody out there does this and you have a night guard, wear it. And if you don't have a night guard yet, right, Danielle, go get one and wear it. Because it's like, my poor teeth, I'm 58. I've been doing this my whole life. So they actually are pretty good if they took this long for one of them to crack. Yeah, and yeah, I have to get one. Yeah, you wear one too, Danielle, right? I mean, it's not super sexy. I'm like, but it can save you a lot of pain. And it hasn't even been painful. It's just been really inconvenient. All right, enough about me and my choppers. So here we are, and that was quick, right? You see there it is. So it went from being, hey, Shannon, good morning. Thanks for joining us. We're talking about everything. See, and Danielle's saying, when I feel lazy and don't want to get it out to wear, I always force myself. Yeah, I've learned my lesson. I really have. I was just like, oh my God, the poor dentist, I was crying. I'm like, Cheryl, I was like, I couldn't believe it. I used to be somebody who used to brag about how good my teeth were. My poor younger brother always would have issues and he's meticulous about his teeth. And I'm like, my teeth are great. Hey, Sue. You know what, Cheryl? I guess, like all of us, maybe it looks beautiful from the outside, right? Though I try to be really for real as much as I can. And I do. I have wonderful sons, a really sweet husband. But after, I went through a big business change, and I'll talk about that in another live. But a lot of things happened. I had to sell a commercial building, and everything kind of happened at once. And I just had, it was just stressful, I'm telling you. Cheryl, thank you. You're so sweet. But yeah, life, right? And it all comes out at night in my mouth. All right, you guys, here's the fun part. So you'll know that your size has come to tack when it's no longer milky white, right? Like this is it wet, and you'll put your finger down. It feels sticky, but it isn't wet. So I'm just gonna start now by putting down the gold leaf, which of course now is sticking to my finger because I got size on it. Actually, I could use that piece right where it came off. Now, this is not real gold. They do make real, I think it's 22 karat gold leaf. They make real sterling, real copper, all of that good stuff. This is called Dutch metal. I love it. But when you see somebody like gold leaf, real gold leaf, an antique frame or something, oh, it's absolutely beautiful. Now the sterling, I believe, tarnishes, so you have to seal it, but it's also really beautiful. And I think this is really beautiful too. It's real metal. It's not plastic. And I'm just kind of moving my hand out away from the seam here in the book so I don't bunch up my pages. You can envision this already, Cheryl. I hope it works. I hope it works. All right, one more little spot here. And you can also, there's one little, you can cut these books down. So say you're doing like a molding or something, or a piece of trim, and it's only this wide. You don't need to use the whole book. This type of leafing is pretty inexpensive. It's like $12, $13 a book for 25 sheets. But you don't want to waste it. So you can cut these down. And you can see I already did cut off a little strip here for a project. All right, so I just placed that, and I'm going to grab a piece of tissue. Now, if you don't want your leafing to get scratched, you can wear cotton. They have cotton gloves, or you can use a leafing brush. I used to sell leafing brushes. They're beautiful, and they're very soft, and they don't scratch the leaf. So, and I used, there's no sizing, right, on that little side. I know. That's that little spot that, excuse me, I messed. The glue is called Size, S-I-Z-E. I'm using, I have a big, giant thing of like commercial size, but do not use regular glue. It will not work. It's called Size, S-I-Z-E. And it works, right? So I'm going to take a little bit of this tissue and I'm just going to press down to get good contact. Cheryl, how are you doing with your columns? I've been waiting to see those. Cheryl took my antique finish workshop and she had this amazing project that she was working on. So I'm excited to see that. All right, so I just pressed that down. Now I'm gonna take, this is a natural bristle brush. This is gonna scratch. So again, if you don't want your size to be scratched, you can use like a piece of cotton, something like that, very, very soft, or a real leafing brush. All right. Oh my God. There we go. And I'm just kind of teasing. I'm teasing out the loose leaf. And you make sure you have a vacuum and do not do this in a room with the window open. You'll have leaf everywhere. But you see the writing there. Isn't that beautiful? Now I suspect, because as I'm looking at this, there's little areas where it didn't, the gold leaf didn't it didn't get glued down with the size. Because I sanded off the finish of this wood, I think it absorbed a lot of that size that I put down. But I still really like this. So you tease this all off. Let's see if I can coax right up in here. And I'm just kind of rubbing on where I see these areas where I could see a little bit of that size. Yeah, that worked. And back in the day, they would use like rabbit, they would use animal-based glues. So that's a very, very traditional type of glue. And again, I'm just putting it in these little areas. I'm really burnishing it down with my finger in little spots that I missed. You know, I think this is one of the few times I've actually used gold leaf on raw wood. All right. how cool is that? And I'm going to keep brushing this, but I just want to show you guys. Look at that writing, right? Isn't that beautiful? So it's kind of a nice little finish to a box that I don't really want to do a lot to. I just wanted something a little special for the top. I wanted to cover those rings that were made by somebody putting a glass down. So here I'm just removing all the loose sides between all the letters here, the script. And I'm going in all different directions. There's one more little spot. And you rarely get this issue that you see me fixing now. Actually, I've never had it when I do it on a painted surface. So I really do believe that the raw wood was just so porous and dry that it absorbed the size. All right. How cool is that? Isn't that pretty, Cheryl? I love it. And it's like perfect. I don't know what I'm going to put in here. I know I want to use it up in my sewing room. And I'll share that with you guys because I'm, you know, as I said, my middle son, Christopher, has moved out. So all my little birds are out of the nest. And I'm going to be using that as my sewing room. In fact, the dresser that I did for the workshop I just talked about is being, it's going to be used up there. All right, look at that. Isn't that pretty? I just love it. So I might put thread in here or something. I'm not sure. But now what I have to do is, because it's still a little bit, that wood is lighter than the edges here, right? And you see all this gold leaf. I'm going to, I do have a vacuum in here, you guys, so don't freak out when you see me do this. But I have to get rid of this. Here's the thing about gold leaf. If you gold leaf a project and then say, oh, thank you, Cheryl. I do too. I really love it. It's a pretty piece and it's useful. But if you're gold leafing and you haven't cleaned up all your little pieces everywhere and you start another project, they can just go in and get attracted into that finish, whether it's wax or you're doing a poly. So you've got to make sure you really clean up your mess. Don't be like me right now. All right, last thing I'm going to do, and I am going to use this brush so I don't have to get up another one. I'm going to take some of my dark antiquing wax here, and I'm just going to put a touch of it right on the top. You don't need a lot. I'm using my darkest brown. Right. I know, Cheryl. Honestly, I had somebody say they actually built their house with a door. Maybe they were joking. I can be a little naive and vulnerable. But he said, I built my house. There's a big door in the back and a door in the front. And he says we would open up the two doors and it would just blow everything out. This guy was hilarious. Shannon's asking, can anyone tell me what deco foil is? I thought it was same as the gold leaf sheets. It's not, and I don't think it is. And Cheryl or Danielle, correct me if I'm wrong, but the deco foil is actually a piece of plastic, right? It's a piece of plastic that has foil attached to it somehow. So then when you go to put your foil down, right, you lift up the piece of plastic. So it just adds another level there. It's like a sheet of plastic. It comes in, I think that deco foil you could get like leopard prints and all kinds of different patterns because they just print it right onto a sheet of plastic. I haven't used it, but I know that I've seen a lot of people using it, and it's, you know, endless, like rainbow patterns, all metallic. So it's a little bit different. You still have to use size. I don't think they call it size, but it's still size because you need something for that metal to stick to. Carmen uses it. Is that Carmen from Curiosity? What's the name of her site, Cheryl? She's an iron orchid stockist. But yeah, I've seen, like in our Painted Cottage group, I know that Kim of For the Nest, and it's the number 4, uses it. And it's like a piece of plastic with the metal on it, right? Attached, you know, as one. And then you put down your size, you lay it down, and you lift the plastic. Curious Farm Market. Carmen of Curious Farm Market is incredibly creative, and she uses all of these really, really cool products. So I would go, you guys, to Curious Farm Market on YouTube and watch her. She's amazing. All right, here I go. I'm putting on the dark wax. And you guys know me, I'm a wax person. Now look, and I use this wax on I have a lot of antiques in my house because it's just a really good wax. I hope you could see, it's like this rich, beautiful color. Here's the pale wood, and there is the dark brown, which is gonna blend this all together. You know, the gold leaf, Shannon's saying, thanking us, you are so welcome. The gold, I am a gold silver leaf person, but that stuff is really cool too, right? I just, you know, I haven't found for my projects that I'm really into patterns, you know, with the gold leaf. But some people, they're putting it on their shoes. They're doing sneakers and shoes and all kinds of cool stuff. So I guess it's just another tool, right, for your arsenal. All right, so there's my wax. I'm going to offload a little bit and just run this across. And I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to let this dry. Okay, this is the Authentica wax. And just like my Miss Mustard seed wax and my mud paint wax, all you do is brush it on and wait for it to dry. But that is going to give a nice luster. When this is dry, I can give it a little bit of a buff. And it all matches now. You see that? It all goes together. So there it is, you guys. My first project this week. Thanks, Cheryl. I think it's super cool. You know, the other thing I thought of, because I was up in my sewing room, and in there my son had a bunch of my tool. I collect these, Cheryl, you know me, it's bad, but I have these big toolboxes, antique toolboxes, little boxes like this. But if you don't want to do anything on the outside, you can put a beautiful little stencil or a saying on the inside when somebody opens that lid. And I would tell you to do it in the best quality product that you can, so that it will be around forever, and who knows where it's going to end up, right? And then they'll open it and they'll see this message, and make sure you sign it. But stuff like that I just absolutely love, right? Thank you, Shannon. Thank you. Thanks, you guys. I think it's really pretty too. It's a really easy project, and it's kind of a nice way to fancy up some plain wood that was a little damaged. So I needed to do something. You guys, thank you so much for joining me. It was so great to have you with me. If you don't see me for a week, that's because I'm getting work done on these choppers, and I am gonna get a new mouth guard, and I promise I'm gonna wear it. Oh my goodness. You guys, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day today. Any questions about this at all, make sure you ask in the comments, and go check out the Painted Cottage. And I even think that's in one of our workshops that we did, they used, I think it was Kim, used that foil, like a decorative foil. It was so cool. You're welcome, Danielle. Danielle, Shannon, Cheryl, Sue. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. You guys, I'll see you next time. Happy painting.